behind that Martin Boeing 737 line runway 703, so right behind.
Departures on 121.025 Emirates 31 Victor. Goodbye.
Hello guys and welcome. As you've probably guessed, today we are doing the expedition from Dubai to Amsterdam Schiphol in the Netherlands. I know that I have been gone for a while and I'm sorry for that. I have a perfectly good excuse, you might call it, but anyways we can talk a little bit more about that later when we get into cruise. Before we start out here, first of all I'd like to apologize. I said in my last video that I would do a review of this magnificent bird, the Toliss Airbus A340, and I told you that you could tag along on my Cross the Pond Eastbound edition this year. None of this has happened, I'm sorry, and again I have a perfectly good reason for both of them. Anyhow, I chose to do this expedition instead of the Cross the Pond, and my review / first look of this Toliss Airbus A340, that video is in the making, and I'll do what I can to get it out as soon as possible so you can get yet another opinion on this bird before you maybe choose whether it goes on your wish list for Christmas or not. I have put timestamps in the bottom as I used to, so if you want to hear why my videos have been so delayed, then feel free to stick around, and if you don't care, that's an honest matter, then of course feel free to skip ahead if you're only here for the flight. Anyhow, today we are flying Emirates. We are completely cold and dark, so let us get this bird powered up. I know that Emirates did not operate A340-600s, but they did operate the 500 variant, so I thought this was close enough. We start by establishing the ground power, and then we'll turn on the batteries. And it looks like the loading is complete, so let us jump back into the cockpit and add some fuel and some passengers via the Toliss interactive system. We have already been adding the fuel. It was 73.5 tons, so it just took a little bit extra. Today we are 440 passengers, so that is actually full load today, and at zero fuel weight of 229 tons. $229.5 tons, so that is zero cargo. So we'll apply the load settings, and we can turn on all the fuel pumps. Turn on the no smoking and the seatbelt signs. Emergency exit light we have already armed. The probe heat is in auto, the land elevation is in auto as well. The manual select is mode select is also in auto. The pack flow is normal. T-tank mode in auto, that is up here, and the T-tank feed in auto. Then let us check the all the push buttons are in and all the lights are off. So let us do an engine fire test. That works out. And our radio panels are turned on, and the extra up here is turned on as well. The anti-skid is on. So we are almost set. So let us just obtain the ATC. Sun frequency 131.7.
Approach. Advised aircraft type on first contact. During pushback and taxi squawk, assign transponder code. Minimum runway occupancy required. Caution possible glide slow fluctuations. Advised ATC copy Bravo. Dublin International Airport departure and arrival Bravo. At time 1100. Departure runway 30 right. Arrival runway 30 left. Airfield information surface 129 degrees. 9 knots. Variable between 260 and 330 degrees. Visibility 0 kilometers or more. To 4,500 feet. Temperature plus 27. Dew point plus 15. QNH 1018. Expect ILS approach. Advised aircraft type on first contact. During pushback and taxi squawk, assign transponder code. Minimum runway occupancy required. Caution possible glide slow fluctuations. Advised ATC copy Bravo.
Okay, well that was the ATC. Let us set the QNH 1018. Oops, sorry about that. And it is synced up with the FO. Alright. Then we can set the FMS here, or the McDo. I just bring it up on the screen here. I have recently bought the Web FMC Pro. I think it brings a lot of immersion into your flying. So I will do it on my iPad, but of course I have, as I said, brought up the McDo here so you can see what I'm actually doing. First of all, correct engines. Yes, we are flying with the Trent engines. That is the only option for this aircraft. And it is the ARAC. It is 2112, that is correct. And we are flying in a fairly new aircraft, so we'll just leave these figures here as it is. And we are going from Dubai to Schiphol in the Netherlands. And I have loaded the flight plan via SimBrief, so I'm just going to insert that. And our alternate for today is, I'll just check the flight plan. That is Echo Bravo Bravo Romeo. That is Belgium. Our flight number, we are flying Emirates 31 Victor. 440 passengers, and our cost index for today is this looks a bit strange. Here it is, 180. And we have a step climb today. That is also modeled in this aircraft, so that is very nice. Let us, our initial altitude is, or our initial flight level is flight level 360, and the temperature up there is minus 52 degrees. The tropopause 457. Just add a couple of zeros. Ground temperature 15 degrees, that sounds a bit low. It is actually 27 degrees. And we'll request the winds. And let us ask the clearance so we can fill out the rest of the McDo here.
Dubai delivery, good day. Emirates 31 Victor, Airbus A340, stand Bravo 14, requesting clearance to Amsterdam Schiphol with information Bravo.
Emirates 31 Victor, Dubai delivery, good day. Cleared destination Amsterdam via Redap to Foxtrot. Maintain altitude 4000 and squawk 0556.
Cleared to destination via the Redap to Foxtrot departure. Climb and maintain 4000 feet, squawk 0556. Emirates 31 Victor.
Emirates 31 Victor, read back correct. Check info Bravo, QNH 1018. Report, ready for pushback on this frequency.
Info Bravo is on board, QNH 1018, and will report ready. Emirates 31 Victor.
Well, that worked out, so let us continue. So, we learned from the ATIS that the active runway is 30 right, and we are departing Redap to Foxtrot. Redap to Foxtrot, this one, with no transition. Insert. And we'll copy the active, the radio, that is okay, we do not need to tune anything. Init page B, and we need to get some information from the Toliss simulation system here. Let us look at it. We are using flaps 3. You are always using flaps 3 on this bird here. The active flight plan, we are not using toga. So we just need to fill in our zero fuel weight. That was 229.5 ton. Oh, that was wrong. Decimal 5. And our zero fuel weight center of gravity 25%. And our block fuel 73.8. And as we can see up here, we've got about an hour of extra fuel. That will probably increase when we do our step climb. And performance page, then we just copy the numbers from here. We have 164, 164, and 167. And a transition altitude of 30,000 feet. I'll just back that up in a second. And flex temperature of 47. The F and then 47. And flaps 3 / up 3.0. And then it should set the trim automatically, but we'll of course always check that too. That is it. Our McDo preparation here is done. So let us close up the doors. I actually believe these doors here are closed anyways, but now they should be closed. I've turned on the low pressure air because the cabin was getting fairly hot, and we don't want to ride on the APU, or we don't want to use the APU for such a long time on the ground. I'm used to doing this on the iPad, but let us just see, where is it? Read up to Foxtrot, it is here. And the transition altitude 13,000 feet will remain on the tower frequency until instructed to change the frequency. So that is also fairly straightforward. And we were going to read up out here. Oh, we just have some speed restrictions to adhere to, and then it is pretty straightforward. We're of course just going to use RNAV, so that is pretty easy. And initial climb is 4,000 feet, but we already heard that from the controller. And we can also look at the taxi procedure, or the taxi route here. We are here at Concourse B. Oh, sorry about that. And we are going to 30 right. We will probably go here this way, then up via Whiskey. Yeah, that is pretty straightforward. We'll probably cross at, yeah, my bet would be Kilo 12 here. That seems pretty likely, so that is also pretty straightforward. But I can always bring up the charts as we go along. So let us see what we need to do. 4,000 feet. I always like to cycle the flight directors here just to be on the safe side. We'll turn on constraints and we will zoom in a little bit here, or decrease the range, so to speak. Everything looks about right. And we set the loudspeaker here. I will set the squawk, and that was 0556. Turn that on, and TARA is standby for now, and we'll say all above, or above, just to declutter the ND a little bit. So let us start up the APU. APU master switch. Lab open, then we can start up the APU. And we've got the eval light here, so let us turn off the external power. And we will turn the packs off, and we'll turn the APU bleed on. We'll just wait a little bit with the packs off. Of course, this is a simulator, but in real life they would do so, at least on the narrow bodies, just to avoid if there's some dirt or some dust in the vent system. To prevent that from getting into the cabin, they would actually run the APU bleed for a couple of minutes before turning on the packs. And while we wait for that, let us remove the air card, and let us remove the external power. And we can actually ask for a pushback.
Great news, Captain. Your tow's coming.
So we'll just start by connecting the tug. And we'll go ahead and turn on the beacon lights. And we can also set
Alright,
this.
looks like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
We can also set the strobes to auto. Man, I really love this aircraft. It is so well done, in my opinion. And actually, there is something that I talked about earlier that we have totally forgotten. We need to program our step climb. So let us do that while the TOC is connecting. And actually, for once, we are not running late because my departure time is actually first in 10 minutes, or rather my pushback time. I'll just bring up the flight plan here in the background. We are stepping to flight level 380, and we are doing that by a waypoint called Ikson. Find the waypoint here. Or actually, we do not need to do that. We actually just line select here on the right side, and then we'll click the step and the altitude 380 at Ikson. And that is it. Pretty easy, right? Of course, if we were going on a little bit of a longer flight, then we'd probably have some more of these step climbs, but today it is sufficient with one. I'll just take a quick look on the checklist here. Our APU is on, and did we turn on the bleeds? Yes, we did. So everything is looking good, and the TOC is connected. The beacon is on, we did that, and the doors, they are all closed and the slides are armed, so that is a check. So we can call for pushback.
Golf 513, you are cleared to destination via readout correction via Navix 3.
Emirates 31 Victor, stand Bravo 14, request push.
Emirates 31 Victor, contact Dubai ground 118.3.
Ground on 118.3, Emirates 31 Victor, bye bye. Dubai ground, good day, Emirates 31 Victor, stand Bravo 14, request push and start.
Emirates 31 Victor, Dubai ground hello behind, passing A310 right to left, pushback and start up as approved, facing west onto uniform behind.
Push and start approved behind the Airbus A310, passing from right to left, facing west onto uniform, Emirates 31 Victor.
Station calling for pushback before whole, say call sign only.
Emirates 145.
Emirates 145, hold position, school group 0547.
And we are facing approximately north, so that would make west actually to the left.
KLM 1 Papa Echo, Dubai ground hello, standby, break Emirates 149 kilo, contact Dubai tower now 118.750, bye bye.
118.750, Emirates 149 kilo, goodbye. And Emirates 145 will hold position. Can you say again the last part of the transmission?
Pushback and started as approved, facing west onto Zulu.
Welcome aboard,
Pushback
Captain.
started
Toes
approved,
connected,
face west onto Zulu,
inserted.
Canada, Echo.
Go and kill the parking brake when you're ready to go.
Ground good day, KLM
Here comes
431,
pushback.
Bravo
Bottom up.
15, request push.
KLM 431, Dubai ground hello, stand Bravo 15, pushback and startup is approved, facing west onto uniform.
Push and start approved, facing west onto uniform, KLM 431. And Emirates CT1 rate taxi.
We are ready to light up the engines. These engines actually start two at a time. So let's start by turning on the ignition. We start with engine number 2, turn on the master switch, then turn on the chrono and wait for 10 seconds, and then we can start number 1. When engine 1 and 2 is stable, then the procedure is repeated for engine 3 and 4.
West onto Zulu.
Fencing west onto Zulu, el Almena 72, thank you.
Emirates 221, continue taxi right to Lima 4, right to Mike, holding point Mike 1 tree Alpha runway 30 right.
Can you repeat those? Emirates 221, sorry.
Emirates 221, continue taxi right Lima 4, right Mike, holding point Mike 1 tree Alpha runway 30 right.
Right Mike, right 14, right Mike, Mike 1, Honey. Correction, right on 14, right Mike, and then Honey Pin Mike 13 Alpha, runway 30, right, Emirates 221.
Emirates
Just
221,
about
just
down here,
confirm
go
right
and set your
Lima
parking
4.
brake.
Correction, right Lima 4, sorry about that.
And we're disconnecting the tow. Give me just a moment.
Emirates 145, when can we expect pushback?
Stand by, blocked, hold on. Emirates 145, stand Bravo 21, pushback and start up as approved facing west onto uniform.
Pushes are approved facing west on a uniform, Emirates 145. Emirates 237, ready for taxi.
Emirates 237, for now hold, position those two aircraft in front of you. Once they request taxi, you can get followed from there. Emirates 58, continue taxi right. Zulu
And
left.
we're disconnected.
Hold
Signal
at
and pin on the
Lima 4
right.
Alpha.
Take it easy and have a safe flight.
Right Zulu, Lima 4, hold Lima 4 Alpha.
And we've had 4 good engine starts. And it's really crowded here today, so it has been a while, but it seems like we are moving in a second.
Emirates 31 Victor, crossover onto uniform, taxi uniform, Juliet 1, hold Juliet, correction, crossover onto Juliet, taxi Juliet 1, hold Juliet 1 Alpha.
Cross over to Juliet, then via Juliet 1 and hold short Juliet 1 Alpha, Emirates 31 Victor.
Emirates 58, taxi right Mike, hold Mike 13 Alpha, runway 30 right.
We are currently here on uniform. Then we were told to cross over to Juliet, which is here. It did not specify whether we could just cross over or that we had to cross over via uniform 1. That is probably the correct procedure, but it seems like there is a pretty long line behind us, so we will just cross over at Juliet here from where we are now. Then we had to continue via Juliet, then Juliet 1, and then hold short here Juliet 1 Alpha.
Follow the A340 in front of you, crossover onto uniform, correction, follow the A340 in front of you, crossover onto Juliet, then taxi Juliet 1, hold Juliet 1 Alpha. 05H, port stand up.
Foxtrot 4, 5058.
And 5058, pushback is approved face west on Zulu.
West, 5058.
West on Zulu.
West on Zulu, 5058.
KLM 3612, looks like you're taking a wrong turn. Hold position, contacted by town 19.55.
Contacted by tower now.
Negative, that was KLM 6, correction, KLM 3612, contacted by tower 119.55.
119.55, KLM 3612.
4. UPS 4, pushback approved face north.
Pushback approve facing north UPS 4.
Emirates 3-1 Victor, taxi straight ahead Juliet 1, hold Juliet, correction, straight ahead Juliet 1, Lima 3, hold Lima 3 out.
Straight ahead on Juliet 1, Lima 3, then hold short Lima 3 Alpha, Emirates 3-1 Victor.
So from Juliet 1 Alpha here, then straight ahead on Juliet 1, then via Lima 3, and then we had to hold short here at Lima 3 Alpha. It really takes some getting used to taxiing in this aircraft. It takes a long time for it to move, and well, the turns, they are something different than your regular narrow body aircraft.
Okay, then 1852 taxi right Mike, holding point Mike 1
So
3 Alpha.
Lima 3 Alpha, that would be that holding point just up ahead.
Right, Mike, Mike 1 3 Alpha, okay, 1 8.
Emirates 3-1 Victor, taxi right Mike, holding point Mike 1 3 Alpha.
Right Mike, holding point Mike 13 Alpha, Emirates 3-1 Victor.
Okay, then 671 Alpha, contact Dubai Tower 118.75. Dubai Tower 118.75, we'll see. LL 972, contact Dubai Tower 118.75.
And from Lima 3 Alpha, right turn here onto Mike, and then just follow along here, down to holding point Mike 13 Alpha,
UPS 4,
which is not
taxi, Juliet
visible
4,
on
right,
this chart.
holding point Kilo 14.
And if we take a look at the airport chart here, Mike 13 Alpha is just a little further ahead.
Okay, then following the A340, Mike 4 Alpha, Alpha 5058. LR 5058, Mike 13, Mike 13 Alpha. Mike 13 Alpha, LR 5058. Okay, then 3612, contact Dubai Tower 118.7. Emirates 3-1 Victor, monitor tower 118.7.
Monitor tower on 118.7, 3-1 Victor.
118.75.
118.75, sorry about that, Emirates 3-1 Victor.
Emirates 792 Dubai ground.
And we were told simply just to monitor tower, which means that we just tune the frequency and listen out. We do not call him up.
Roger that.
And while I'm giving it my best attempt to line up here in this this huge monster of an aircraft, then I'd like to remind you to hit the like button if you like this video, and if you want to see more, then subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when there's a new video out. And at last, I hope to do some more long-haul flying here in the upcoming Christmas holiday. Tell me what aircraft we should use. Should we go with the A340 once again, or maybe a kind of long haul in the A321neo? Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section. Thanks for watching.
30 right, cleared for takeoff, Emirates 3-1 Victor.
LR 5058 bounded departing Airbus A340 line for runway 30 right.
Line up at runway 30 right behind the departing traffic, 5058.
Slowly letting go of the side stick to be neutral by 100.
UPS 4 behind the departing LR Boeing 737 via Mike 1 for Alpha and runway 30 so right behind.
V1 and rotate.
UPS 4 behind the departing Boeing 737 line for runway 30 so right behind.
31 Victor, contact departures 121.025, bye-bye.
Departures on 121.025, Emirates 31 Victor, goodbye. Radar, good day, Emirates 31 Victor, passing 2,000 feet, read up to Foxtrot.
Emirates 31 Victor, Dubai departures, good afternoon, you're identified, climb flight level 150, speed 300 knots.
Climb flight level 150, speed 300 knots, Emirates 31 Victor.
We are a little over an hour into the flight, and it's a bit quiet on the radio, so I thought I'd just let you guys know what is going on. So first of all, where's the video of Cross the Pond Eastbound? So I did participate in the event, and I actually had a very great event. I was flying from Washington to Helsinki in Finland. I chose Washington this time as my departure because I heard that Slant Alpha was controlling at Washington. Unfortunately, I did not experience that. He was probably not on duty when I was flying. If you don't know who Slant Alpha is, then definitely check him out. He's got some really interesting stuff on his channel. He is doing things a little bit differently from many others. He is doing a lot of VFR, a lot of great explanations as well. He is kind of having this old school navigation thing going on as well, hence the name. Anyhow, I really enjoy his content. That was a side note. What I was saying before, I was going to Helsinki in Finland, which is the capital, and when I was on final approach, I heard that annoying Windows chime, and I did not think more of that because, well, I was on final approach. And then when I had landed and taxied to the gate, and I was about to finalize the video and wrap up, then I saw why that chime had played earlier, and that was because there was some kind of fault with the recording software. I guess it was not the recording software itself. I don't actually remember what the fault was 100%. But anyhow, what happened is that it had stopped recording for some reason, and that had never happened to me before. And the performance was okay, so I do not think that it was because I was running out of RAM or anything. But I was not able to use the footage because the software that I am using, if the software does not get to finalize the recording, then you cannot use it. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So I basically was left with a huge file that was completely useless. And I tried searching on the internet, and I tried opening it with various programs and thought I could maybe just trim away the last part and use the first 8 hours of the video, since it was only like the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes maybe that actually was corrupted. But it was not to save, at least I could not save it, and that is why I unfortunately could not share this edition of Cross the Pond with you. And second of all, why is the Toliss A340 review / first look so delayed? Well, a little while after I put my last video out, the Cross the Land video, in where I said I would do a review of the Toliss A340, I was actually offered a new job, and it is something completely different than what I am used to do. It's probably what you'd call the opposite of what I used to do. So that takes up about 90% of my time. And I'm sure you guys know what it is like to change jobs. You are constantly having to do stuff outside of your normal hours and stuff. So that is the reason why my videos have been so delayed. But at least I can assure you the Toliss video is in the making as you are watching this. So I hope that you are still interested in hearing my opinion on the aircraft. First, I actually meant to do this video as a kind of first impressions video, but it has proven to be way too hectic to go into to detail. So I chose to do it in a separate video. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the flight, and I will check back with you when we are approaching Amsterdam Schiphol, and then we will talk about the complexity, or actually not the complexity, but the system of taxiing in Amsterdam Schiphol, as it's a bit different than what you are probably used to. But we'll take a look at it when we get so far. Anyways, thanks for watching. We are now getting close to Amsterdam, and we have been vectored around for a little bit, and we are now tracking directly to Norku, which is the first waypoint of our presumed star. And of course it is the last waypoint that we have filed, so let us see what is going to happen.
Emirates 31 Victor, contact Amsterdam 125750.
Amsterdam on 125.75, Emirates 31 Victor, bye bye. Amsterdam, good evening, Emirates 31 Victor Heavy, flight level 260 inbound Norku, information Charlie.
Emirates 31 Victor, hello Charlie, correct. Cleared Norku to Alpha, arrive for runway 18 right, descent file for 200.
Down to flight level 200, cleared inbound via the Norku 2 Alpha, arrival for runway 18 right, Emirates 31 Victor Heavy.
So we were cleared inbound via the Norku 3 Alpha arrival, which funny enough starts here at Norku between flight level 280 and flight level 200. So it pretty much is just straight ahead to Rubis, then to Oskur, and then to Artip. So that is pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at the approach chart. If we were to fly the procedure, then we'd be coming from Artip, then we'd fly this way here, all the way around, and then join the ILS. But I don't think that is very realistic. We would probably, I've flown to this airport sometimes before, and my bet would be that we'd be getting a direct to the Sierra Papa Yankee VOR, and then probably from there told to given some kind of heading maybe, or a direct maybe to Pevers, and then just join the ILS from there. If you watched the time lapse, you saw that you probably saw that I played a little bit with the fix info page. We'll be talking a little bit more about that in my upcoming first look / review of the A340. But if you already own the A321 or the 19, then you know the fix info page. It is of course also added to the flight factor, but Toliss have had that page functioning for a while. Anyways, there is a warning here for the go around procedure. Do not overshoot radial 240. So I just drew the radial 240 off of the Sierra Papa Lima VOR just to be sure not to overshoot it in case that something should go wrong with the automation, and a go around is very likely during an event like this. So let us complete the briefing here by looking at the taxi charts. As you can see, it is a fairly large airport, and we are landing at 18 right. It's probably the most far end of the airport, that is up here, and we can just take it easy when vacating. There is only these 3 junctions here, so that should be pretty easy. There are no junctions to the other side to confuse us. And taxi wise, we'll take a look at it when we are on the ground. But for an airport like Amsterdam Schiphol, for a big airport like this one, it is always a very good idea to take a look at the pilot's briefing, because at this airport here, 90% of the times you will just be told where to cross. For instance, 18 center / 36 center. Most likely, I don't know yet which gate we are going to, obviously, but a bet would be cross via Whiskey 5. That is pretty standard, and that is all that you get. You can also already see here that there are directional arrows here and here, so you kind of have to figure it out on your own. But if you have read the pilot's briefing, then there is a lot of help. You can see all the direction specific taxiways. If we for instance look at the taxi chart here, or the parking chart, sorry, you can see that the Alpha has a specific direction and the Bravo taxiways has a specific direction as well. But we'll look more into that when we get on the ground.
Emirates 31 Victor, maintain present heading, descent flight level 130.
Down to 130 on present heading, Emirates 31 Victor.
Austrian 377 Mike, descent flight level 140.
Descent level 140, Austrian 377 Mike.
Hearing 37 X-ray, descent flight level 70, speed 250 knots. Emirates 31 Victor, turn left heading 280.
Left heading 280, Emirates 31 Victor.
And Emirates 31 Victor, maintain speed 280 knots now. So not greater than, so just 280 knots.
And 280 knots for Emirates 31 Victor.
And as we talked about, we are being vectored. Even though it looks like we are actually flying an offset to the star, we are still being vectored.
Emirates 31 Victor, resume on navigation, direct R-tip. After R-tip, direct Sierra Papa Yankee.
On navigation to RTIP and thereafter Sierra Papa Yankee, Emirates 31 Victor.
Orbit 31 Kilo Tango, resume on navigation, direct R-tip. After R-tip, direct Sierra Papa Yankee.
Resuming on navigation, direct R-tip and after R-tip, Sierra Papa Yankee, Orbit 31 Kilo Tango.
KLM 1855, climbing 130, Washington. KLM 155, hello, climb level 1, question level 210, direct Tabro. 210, direct Table. KLM 1855. After radar, goedenavond. KLM 48, flight level 260, inbound Norcus.
This is a pretty common practice at Schiphol. Well, this looks about right.
Descent level 200, when ready. When ready, descent flight level 200.
We are almost overhead RTIP, and we have been in touch with the Schiphol approach, and we are given vectors to final.
Emirates 31 Victor, descent flight level 45, speed 250 knots.
Down to flight level 45, speed 250 knots, Emirates 31 Victor.
Emirates 31 Victor, descent 3000 feet, QNH 1018.
Down to 3000 feet on QNH 1018, Emirates 31 Victor.
KLM 419er, turn left heading 150 to intercept. You overshot the localizer. Emirates 31 Victor, leave Sierra Papa Yankee heading 260.
Leave Sierra Papa Yankee on a heading of 260, Emirates 31 Victor.
KLM Point Whiskey, heading ground Sierra Papa Yankee 4500.
KLM Point Whiskey, Schiphol arrive identified. Emirates 31 Victor, descent 2000 feet.
Down to 2000 feet, Emirates 31 Whiskey. Victor.
Emirates 31 Victor, turn left heading 210, cleared ILS approach, runway 18 right.
Left heading 210, cleared ILS approach 18 right, Emirates 31 Whiskey.
KLM 48 Whiskey, speed 220 knots.
Speed 220 knots, KLM Point Whiskey.
Alpine 7414, speed 220.
Speed 220, we have Alpine 7414.
Thank you.
Okay, so we were cleared the ILS. I was just about to set up a extended center line. It is very important in the Airbus that the waypoints kind of sequence up, otherwise you might have trouble with your go around should you do one of those. In the flight factor A320, which I am more accustomed to than the Toliss, then you are given the radial in, and here you have to kind of find the reciprocal yourself. That took me kind of off guard, but just got a little busy here, and I think our waypoints will sequence up anyway. I hope this landing is going to go well. This is only like my third or fourth landing in this aircraft. Right after I bought it, I really haven't had the time that I'd like to really get into this aircraft. But I hope this is going to change over the Christmas here.
KLM 927, I'm still not picking you up.
And as we talked about earlier, if you look at the ND, you can see the radial coming off the Sierra Papa Lima, and we can clearly see the turn. That gives us a pretty good picture of what we have to do in case of a go-round.
Line up and wait, runway 24, Lufthansa 219ers.
Emirates 31 Victor, runway 18 right, clear to land, winds 200 degrees, 9 knots.
Clear to land 18 right, Emirates 31 Whiskey, Victor.
400.
Tower, good evening, Austrian 377, Mike.
Austrian 377 Mike, hello, number 2, continue approach.
Continue.
200.
Glide slow.
Minimum.
We are slightly low. Should have probably corrected a little bit more.
Lufthansa 219, runway 24, clear to take off, winds 200 degrees, 9 knots, choose.
20. Retard. 10.
Clear for takeoff, Lufthansa 219ers. Thank you for the service, bye-bye.
Alpine 3 Kilo Tango, shall we switch to ground frequency? Alpine 31 Kilo Tango, automatic handoff in place, contact ground 121.8, bye-bye. After that, 121.8, Alpine 31 Kilo Tango, thank you, bye.
Tower, leaving Kilo 48, Whiskey Alice, runway 18 right.
Kilo 48 Whiskey, hello, number 2, continue approach.
Fire number 2, continue Kilo 48 Whiskey.
And Kilo 48 Whiskey, reduce final approach speed, please.
Reducing final approach speed, Kilo 48 Whiskey.
And we have vacated. I was a little bit too much to the right for my liking, but this bird, it is pretty easy to fly, but it does take some getting used to. If you compare it to your standard narrow body Airbus, then it really takes some more control input, I think, to get this aircraft moving in the direction that you like. I'm no real world pilot, so I wouldn't know if this is realistic or not, but from a layman's perspective here, it feels like driving a car versus driving a truck. So my uneducated guess would be that this is very realistic.
Emirates 31 Victor, continue on Victor and contact ground 121.8, bye-bye.
Continue via Victor and ground on 121.8. Emirates 31 Victor, thank you for service, bye-bye. Schiphol ground, good evening, Emirates 31 Victor, taxiing on Victor.
Emirates 31 Victor, good evening, welcome to Schiphol. Taxi gate Golf 3 at Whiskey 5, cross runway 18 center.
Taxi to stand Golf 3 via Victor 5, cross runway 18 center, Emirates 31 Victor.
And that was, of course, Whiskey 5 and not Victor 5. So this is all the instructions that we receive, so the rest we have to figure out on our own. So let us take another look at the charts. We are around here on Victor, and if we look in the box down here, then we have to go via Victor Sierra this way, passing Papa 6, and then onto Victor again. We cannot go this way because it is against the direction. So we'll be going this way, and then we have to cross via Whiskey 5, and then we just need to take a look at the other chart to locate our stand, Golf 3. Golf 3 is down here at the Golf Pier, funny enough. And we will go back to the other chart just to get an kind of an overview. We have to go to the Golf Pier up here, and we are crossing here via Whiskey 5, so we have to go to the right, and that is only allowed via Delta. We can see the directional arrow here, and then we have to go via Alpha and into our stand here. If we take another look at this chart, then we can just confirm, and as we can see here, we have to go via Alpha. We are not to go allowed to go via Bravo, and depending on our wingspan, one of the 3 taxiways here, and our wingspan is 63 meters, so that would mean that we have to take number 3, which is the middle one here, down to our stand. So that is pretty straightforward. And we have Whiskey 5 there on our left.
Schiphol ground, Emirates 145, clear runway 18 right.
Emirates 145, good evening, welcome to Schiphol, taxi gate call 5 at Whiskey 5, cross runway 18 center.
Taxi gate Golf 5 at Whiskey 5, cross runway 18 center, Emirates 145.
Schiphol to Emirates 151, heavy with you on zip check. United 15, correction, Emirates 151, good evening, welcome to Schiphol, taxi gate call 6 at Whiskey 5, cross the runway 18 center. Taxi stand Golf 5 via Whiskey 5, cross 18 center, 151. Emirates 151 active, the gate is Golf 6. Golf 6, correction, Emirates 151.
Taxi to gate Delta 2 at via Quebec and at Whiskey 5 cross 18 center, KLM 428.
And we have made it to the gate in Schiphol. What a nice flight. I will not be going through the full power down procedure, etc. here, because it has been a long night. And we are going to do that next time we meet. In my next video, as I have promised, I am already working on it. Then we will of course be doing the full procedure from stand to stand. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you had, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and tell me what we are doing next time. I would love to hear your thoughts. Would you like more long haul in this aircraft, or maybe A321 action instead? Some semi-long haul, maybe with the Neo? Let me know. Now I have not got much more left to do than to sign off with the controller, and thanks a lot for watching. See you next time.
Emirates 31 Victor is on the blocks. Thank you for a great event and have a nice evening.
Emirates 31 Victor, thanks for flying to Schiphol, good night, bye bye.